Crofweiler Industrial Cartel, producers of all sorts of stuff, made out of everything, invite you to widen your horizons.
Yes, friends, it's time once again for Widen Your Horizons, the award-winning public service program that teaches you to lead a fuller and happier life by acquiring new skills. Our subject for today is how to sew on a button. And here to conduct the demonstration, we have Mr. Hugh U. Bonfig of the Wasatch Thread Company. I believe, Mr. Bonfig, your firm is the largest of its type in the country. Isn't that right?
Well, ours is the largest thread company in the nation that consistently fails to show a profit. In that respect, I guess you'd say it's the largest of its type, yes.
And I suppose that you make thread in a veritable rainbow of colors.
Yes, we're making it now in brown, black, and white. And if we can get tooled up in time, we hope to introduce navy blue sometime this spring.
Well, now, I understand you're building a whole new plant that will be devoted exclusively to the production of navy blue thread. Is that right?
No, that's not right. In fact, we're shutting down half of our main plant around the 1st of March. Thread just doesn't seem to be selling anymore.
Well, why do you suppose that is, Mr. Bonfig?
Well, we borrowed the money to take a survey, and we found that 94% of the people in the country don't have any idea what to do with thread. They don't know the first principles of sewing.
Gee, I had no idea the percentage was that high.
Oh, it's appalling. Now, you take the average businessman, if he loses a button off his coat and sees it lying there on the floor, he doesn't even know what it is. He thinks it's Chinese money.
Well, then, there certainly is a crying need for your demonstration of how to sew on a button. That's why you're here today. And do you have everything you need to get started?
Yes, now, for purposes of the demonstration, I ripped a button off the sleeve of my coat here. Now, the first step toward sewing it back on is to thread this needle with our number 30 white thread.
I think we might mention that your suit is navy blue. So I imagine that once your factory starts producing navy blue thread, you'll use that in your demonstration.
If I happen to be wearing this suit, yes.
All right. Well, I see you have the needle threaded there. Now, what's the next step?
Well, you hold the button where you want it to be, and then you start sewing. Of course, this is on the sleeve, and I only have one hand free, so I wonder if you could help me hold the button.
Yes, sure. I'd be glad to. Incidentally, I noticed that it's a brown button, and all the rest of them here are blue.
Well, this is just a demonstration. Now, we go down through this little hole, up through this little hole, down through this little hole, up through this little hole, down through this little hole, up through this little hole. And there we are, all finished.
Yes, it's as simple as that, friends. What's the matter, Mr. Bonfig? You're white as a sheet.
Oh, yeah, it's paralyzed. Get it
out. Wait a minute. I think I see the trouble. You sewed your sleeve to the leg of your trousers. Your arm is stuck to your leg.
Well, how am I going to get back to the office all bent over this way?
Well, if you'll stop somebody out in the hall, I think they'd be glad to help you down to a cab. Out you go now.
Everybody's staring at me.
You've been listening to Widen Your Horizons, and our guest speaker today was Mr. Hugh U. Bonfig of the Wasatch Thread Company. Copies of Mr. Bonfig's remarks may be obtained free of charge from your local representative of the Crofweiler Industrial Cartel. The most prominent point of adventure and pioneering these days lies at the very bottom of the world, Antarctica, the South Pole. Of course, we're learning a lot of new things with our expedition down there. We asked an expert on the polar regions, a gentleman who's made several trips to both the North and South Pole, to drop by today and tell us about his forthcoming expedition. Captain Lars Bjorgensen, it's a pleasure to welcome you here to our Bob and Ray studio once again.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, Bob. I'm leaving this Friday afternoon about 5 o'clock.
That's today, you mean? Or next week?
That's today.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, today.
We'll be weighing anchor and heading for the South Pole. Is that right, Captain?
That's right. And then I want to be back Sunday midnight because I go back to work then Monday around noon.
Well, now, you must have spent quite a few months in preparation for this expedition. How big a crew will you have on your ship?
Well, there'll be a crew, including myself now, of 4.
4 of you are going to brave the
hazards.
Freezing weather and the icebergs of the South Polar region. Will you meet up with our expedition down there over the weekend while you're there, do you think? Or?
Well, I don't really know. I'm going down there for one of the United States departments.
Oh, that's
I'm not at liberty to say what department it is. It's the Navy. And
I understand.
I'm going to get down there, make a quick check, report, and then come right back.
And you'll be back sometime Sunday evening in time
That's
for
right.
a $4,000 challenge, you think?
I don't know if I'll ever get on there or not. But I have to be back at least Monday. Yeah, at 11 o'clock, that's when the doors open.
Oh, getting back to these months of preparation and lining up your crew and so forth, what will you must have to take some unusual items of supply with you in order to sustain life in such a cold, damp atmosphere.
What are we taking now? We have...
What I mean is you're taking concentrated foods, of course, so they won't take up too much space.
No, I have 3 cans of rainbow trout pate. I have some olives. I have several bottles of olives stuffed with almonds.
Yes, but as far as the staples...
I have Big Boy June peas.
Oh, don't mention any
I'm taking,
commercial names, if you will, Captain.
Crushed pineapple. Those.
I merely meant...
I'm taking baked beans, friends. Taking the family size.
Yes, but Captain, what I was driving at was for a trip to...
Campfire marshmallows. Campfire girl, I guess it is.
It all sounds very good. The thing I meant was, what kind of food do you need to sustain life in these sub-zero temperatures?
Oh, that. 3 feathers. We're taking about 12 cases of that.
Well, Captain, I hope that your trip is successful and that we'll see you back here real soon. I want you to take along our best to the rest of the crew, too. Incidentally, how did you line up the crew? Did you...
Well, they all wanted to go on this trip with me.
But, I mean, did you have any special scouts out looking for...
Well, no, I just looked them up in the classified.
Captain Lars Jorgensen, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Captain.
You're entirely welcome.
The Bob and Ray Show is being brought to you by the druggists in your community.
We're lucky because we do have one or two of them here.
Well, there's just one, really. This gentleman is with me.
I see.
I'm the only one you're supposed to interview. At least that's what that young lady told me.
Well, now, what is your name, ma'am?
Well, my real name is Lottie Crump, but I'm known professionally as Mrs. Wingate C. Bellingham. I prefer you call me that.
Well, okay. Well, now, what is this unusual occupation of yours, Mrs. Bellingham?
I'm a shill in a supermarket.
I'm afraid I don't quite understand.
Well, I go into a supermarket wearing this mink coat and all this jewelry, and the other women think I'm a society leader or something.
I see.
When they see me putting certain items in my cart, they naturally pick out the same things.
Oh, in other words, they assume that a woman of your standing would only buy the very best.
That's right. Of course, I'm actually working for the management, and the stuff I put in my cart is a lot of junk the store's trying to get rid of.
Well, is that all you do all day? Just walk around the store and putting a lot of low-quality groceries in your shopping cart?
Oh, my, no. I have to keep doing things to attract attention to myself. For example, I'll go up to one of the clerks and say, I do hope you handle number 2 cans of Stengel's Early June peas. They're the only brand that my husband, Wingate C. Bellingham, the wealthy Wall Street tycoon, will eat.
Oh, well, then I can see. The other women hear that, and they make a dash for Stengel's Early June peas, huh?
For heaven's sakes, yes. They knock each other down to get to them. They get so worked up, they don't even notice that the cans fell off the truck and are all squashed.
Well, don't the other women ever suspect that you really work for the store? I should think you'd get wise.
Well, now they give me a fishy look sometimes when they see me sneaking in the side door and putting the stuff back on the shelves, but they never say anything.
Uh-huh. Well, now, what about this gentleman here with you? Is he your accomplice?
No, his name is Rudolph Zimmerman.
Well, nice to know you, Mr. Zimmerman. What do you do for a living?
I don't do nothing.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for chatting with us, Mrs. Bellingham. We've certainly enjoyed hearing about your unusual occupation.
Well, I've enjoyed being here, and if you're over in a certain market on Lexington Avenue this weekend, don't buy the veal cutlets. I'll be pushing them, but they're rancid.
All right. Well, we'll remember that. We'll get the name after you leave the air. Thanks again, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
You can go, too, Mr. Zimmerman.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
We have our theme today. Well, of course, starting a new week. This is 10 days away now from the 1st of spring.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
Boy, that's not very far away.
10 and 9. Is it the 20th, actually?
20th, yeah.
20th is a beautiful day.
That what we call the solstice? Or the equinox. One of the equinoxes, I guess.
It's a beautiful day, the 20th of March. My word, but it's a beautiful day.
Then I don't know.
And then I don't know.
One thing I know, though, is that Crawford Paisley, our television critic, is here.
Yeah.
Crawford, sit right down, will you, please? And you got a show to review for us this week? You look at anything over the weekend?
Well, as you undoubtedly know, I have been with the great Bob and Ray organization for a year or so.
Yes, well, we're aware of exactly how long you've been with us, Crawford, and We're also keeping very careful tab on your contract expiration date.
Well, I didn't bring this up because I'm about to hit you for a raise. What I was starting to say was that during the year, almost every major show has come under my scrutinizing eye.
Yes.
And it's getting to be quite a problem to find a show I haven't already reviewed.
Oh, well, now, look, there are new shows going on all the time, you know.
So it occurred to me that I should watch the only programs I've never seen, namely those that are on in the middle of the night.
Well, that's quite a unique idea, I guess.
Well, Edith didn't think so, and I told her that I planned to set the alarm for 3 o'clock in the morning and get up and watch TV. She insisted that I put the clock on the table right by my bed and turn it off quickly so that it wouldn't wake her and Elkhart. Elkhart's a very light sleeper.
Now that you've brought it up, I guess we should mention that Elkhart is your son, huh?
Well, I knew that.
Yeah, but our listeners might want to know.
Oh, I see. Well, I went to bed early Thursday night so that I could get up at 3 on Friday morning and do this thing.
Uh-huh.
And I put the clock on the table by my bed. No, wait a minute. I went to my lodge meeting on Thursday night. It must have been Friday night that I went to bed
Well,
early.
it doesn't make any difference, Crawford. Just get to the point, will you, please?
Well, at 3 a.m., the clock started ringing, and I ran across the room in the dark to turn it off. And I marked my shins pretty badly on a bureau drawer that had been left partway open.
Well, I thought you said you'd put the clock on the table right by your bed.
Well, I had, but when you wake up out of a very sound sleep, you don't remember a thing like that. We usually keep the clock on my wife's dresser, and I guess I just assumed that's where it was.
Okay, well, now let's get on with the story, huh?
Well, I mean, you know that yourself, Rod. You get awakened out of a sound sleep, and you don't start hitting on all cylinders right away.
Well, that's right, I know. So you went down and you turned on television.
I put on my robe and slippers first.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be down there in just my pajamas and bare feet. You see, we turn our thermostat way down at night, and it gets pretty cold in the house.
All right, well, you put on your robe and slippers, then you went down, and then you turned on TV.
That's right. After I'd gotten myself a sandwich and a glass of milk. See, we'd eaten dinner early, and I was really famished.
All right, well, then you watched TV. What did you think?
That's the funny part, Bob. There wasn't a thing on. I guess all the stations had signed off for the night. You got kind of a whistling sound when you hit a channel where a station was supposed to be, but there weren't any programs on.
And that's your review for the week, is it?
That's about it, I guess.
Okay, well, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Crawford Paley, ladies and gentlemen.
And so we set our highly controversial Wally Ballou out to cover it. The story on tranquilizers, and today he's at a tranquilizer factory somewhere in eastern United States. So come in, please, Wally Ballou.
Rattle Barrel, Vermont. This is Wally Ballou at the Sleepy Time Laboratories, where we're going to speak to some of the men who are helping to calm down the people of the United States. First, Mr. Thurston Perdue. Mr. Perdue is the plant manager here at Sleepy Time.
Yes.
And I'd just like to say hello, Mr. Perdue, and say hello to all of our listeners.
Hello.
I notice you're going full tilt here at Sleepy Time, turning out tranquilizers by the carload, I'd say.
That's right. We turn out about.
Oh, you don't need to be nervous, sir. We're just on the radio.
Yes.
No cameras or anything. Oh, here comes Mr. Perdue's assistant, Mr.
Oh, we're sorry.
Hey.
Hey, boss. Where's the first cut you made this morning?
Well, they're checking.
Don't look at me.
Cotton shade this morning.
Oh, it's down here, isn't it? I don't think so.
Sleepy Time is one of the leading producers of...
Shipping. Okay.
We sail as part of the chicken shipping department. What do chickens have to do with tranquilizers?
No, shipping.
Oh,
Shipping department.
I was going to say that this is one of the...
That shadow on the wall scared me.
Well, the lights are a little bit strange in here, kind of eerie, and I suppose that's to calm down the employees. I didn't mean to turn that quickly.
Just turn very slowly, will you, when you address me? I'd appreciate it very much.
How many tranquilizers do you turn out in a day, Mr. Perdue?
You mean individual tablets?
Yes.
Oh, maybe 6,000, 7,000.
And they go like hotcakes, I guess, judging from the records there. What's the matter?
While there for a minute.
Oh, no, I just kind of leaned over the railing there. And the operation is going full speed ahead here at Sleepy Time. So that America's million...
What's that? What is that?
That's the lunch bell. Oh, there's the boss again. And so amidst this scene of busy industrial activity...
Watch the machine there.
That's
Please.
all right, see.
Please, watch it.
This is Wally Ballou at the Sleepy Time Laboratories. Sending it back to... Well... Another public service being offered by the vast Bob and Ray organization. I think you're going to like this.
Well, that's right. You know, the fast tempo of modern living has prompted us to inaugurate the Bob and Ray How It Came Out service.
We realize that millions of Americans are avid moviegoers, but there are very few of us who have time to sit through a whole picture. And so we've sent our Bob and Ray field workers out to some of the Manhattan movie houses, and we've received the first reports on how some of the popular pictures of the day came out.
Well, for example, I have a field worker's report right here on the case of The Hidden Clue, starring Hilda Grimshaw and Roscoe Ewing. Now, if you saw the first half of that movie, you're undoubtedly wondering how it came out, and we're pleased to be able to inform you that Mrs. Fitzpatrick did it.
Do you have any details there on why she did it, or how Roscoe Ewing caught her?
Well, no, the field worker's report just says that Mrs. Fitzpatrick did it. I guess we should get the staff to add a few more details.
Yeah. Well, I have a little more here on Apache Revenge, starring Cuss Murdoch and Sheila Weatherby. In the big battle scene at the end, the American Army won and the Indians lost.
The Indians always seem to lose, don't they? Thank you, and hello again, everybody. Ray speaking for Bob and Ray right now. And in just a few minutes, I'll be joined here at the Golden Revolving Stage by Bob Elliott. We'll get along with... Oh, I guess the show can't... What happened to you, Bob?
Oh, I just made it. I didn't realize. Oh, boy. I didn't realize we were on the air quite this soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're moving along in fast shape.
Well, let me take a look at the blackboard and see what we can expect here. Who erased that?
Not a thing on that blackboard at all.
Wasn't there something on there?
I don't think there was anything on there at all, no.
Well, we may go out to Wally Ballou someplace. If he's on the spot. First.
Are you on the spot anywhere, Wally?
Well,
let's call you in anyway.
Okay.
Wally Ballou in...
for practice, huh?
Yeah. Wally Ballou in the hallway. Come in, please, if you can read us. Wally Ballou.
There's Radio's Wally Ballou speaking from the hallway of the 24th floor of the Mutual
I gotta get this piano down for the Wisdom Show.
24th floor of the Mutual Broadcasting System. Is the gorilla on that show, too?
Yeah.
Thinking of movies.
Gorilla's doing a commercial.
Standing in the hallway outside the Bob and Ray studio, where the sounds of gay audience laughter pervade the atmosphere of this panoramic scene of business-like activity.
All right, everybody in there.
Now there's a tour coming down the hall, the regular usual tour of the studio sound effects lab.
You know what Martha Dean's located?
They're going in to see the Martha Dean show, I believe. And could we speak to one or two of your tour members before you...
Yeah.
I'm
I'll
speaking
talk
to
with
the
this lady, yeah.
page who's
Get
taking
her
the
out my
road.
ear for a while. She's an earbender.
Hello, madam.
Hello, how are you?
I'm
So
Radio
wonderful.
Wally
I've been so
Ballou.
anxious to come down here and see all these programs. I've been listening to you for so long and all these wonderful programs around here, and I've always had, a real great desire to come down and just see how you go on the radio and how you talk and say things so frequently and so
Have we got another member of the tour?
Yeah, I told you
can
an
speak to?
earbender, ain't she?
Yes, she sure is. How about you, Guide? How many years you been taking tours through Mutual?
34 years.
34 years. That's about a year after they were born, isn't it?
Yes, well, no, they're all older people.
No, what I mean is Mutual is 35 years old,
It is?
I think. Or at least it's flagship station, WORS.
Yeah.
And, have you had any interesting experiences in 34 years of taking tours through here?
Been fired about 12 times.
But now you're back stronger than ever.
No, I haven't been fired again.
Well,
I did get fired this morning.
Well, this is your last tour, then?
That's right. That's why I'm being a little curt.
So it's an epic occasion on which we speak to you today. Where do you go from the Martha Dean studio?
Well, from there, I swing over to, I think it's the Henry Gladstone and the News show.
You take them through the Bob and Ray studio, too? I think one of your tours is running away.
That's okay. That's the windbag.
Oh. You go through the Bob and Ray studio and you...
No, because that's 86.
It is, huh?
It's 86. That's the code number, means don't disturb.
Keep out.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk with you, and I want to wish you many years of continual business relationships of a successful nature.
Thank you very much.
This is Radio's Wally Ballou in the hall on the 24th floor of...
Wally Ballou is visiting an atomic energy plant in Marshalltown, Iowa. So if you're ready with your report, come in, please, Wally Ballou.
Lou at the Ajax Atomic Energy Company in Marshalltown, Iowa, and with me at the microphone is the president of the firm, Mr. Herschel Pitgrab. Now, as I understand it, Mr. Pitgrab, this is the only atomic energy plant in the country that has no connection whatsoever with the government. Is
That's
that
correct,
right?
Mr. Ballou.
Uh-huh.
Our firm is strictly private enterprise selling to the general public. For example, we put out a very serviceable atomic bomb that anybody can buy for $79.50.
Well, do you sell many bombs?
Sell quite a few of them, yes. We have the field pretty much to ourselves. The government atomic plants won't sell bombs.
I know
that
that.
means that if you want to buy one, you almost have to come to
I
us.
was a little bit surprised that the government would allow you to operate a plant like this. Seems to me to be kind of a menace to...
Well, there really isn't much the government can do about it. They won't let me ship any of them to customers overseas. There's nothing anybody can do to keep me from selling the bombs to people in this country.
Well, now, we're standing here in the main production room of your plant, and I don't see any cyclotrons or atomic reactors or anything like that. Do you have those things over in another building or what?
No, we don't use any of that complicated stuff here. That's how we're able to keep the price of our bombs down within reach of the average consumer.
Well, if you don't have any of the usual equipment, how are you able to create atomic energy?
Well, you take some of this pink stuff here and then some of this brown stuff, and then you mix them together and let them sit in an earthenware crock for about a week.
Uh-huh.
And that's about all there is to it. Of course, you have to pour the whole business into a bomb casing and then put a fuse on it, but that runs the price up.
Well, now, those two ingredients must be pretty powerful to set up an atomic reaction, I should think.
The pink stuff is ethyl gasoline, and the brown stuff is a popular cola drink.
Then you could really make an atomic bomb that way?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised myself until I tested the first one and blew a crater about 60 feet deep and about a half a mile wide with it.
How about that? Sounds as if one of them went off there.
Yeah, it's just the fellows in the testing department clowning around down there.
Well, it's been very nice to talk to you, Mr. Pitgrab.
Well, it's been nice having you out here, sir, and you got to drop back a little later in the fall. We'll have our Christmas gift line in full production by then.
We'll try to do that. Until the next time, this is Wally Ballou at Marshalltown, Iowa, sending it back to Bob and Ray in New York.
All right, come on, you guys. Hey, cut it off. Cut out the foolishness, now. Let's get back on the job.
We, just got word this morning that the young lady who was recently crowned Miss McCracken County, Kentucky, is here in New York for a visit, and we invited her to drop by for a short interview. I think your name is Miss Wilma Gathorpe. Is that correct?
Well, it's just pronounced Thorpe, but G on the front is silent.
I see. Well, now, who are all these people you've brought with you today, sitting over there in the peanut
Well,
gallery?
they're my kinfolk. I won this trip to New York for being chosen as Miss McCracken County.
Mm-hmm.
My family was afraid for me to come up here alone, so they all drove up with me from down home.
Quite a bunch of them over there, isn't there?
27 of them made the trip altogether.
Well, it's nice to have all of you folks here with us today. And getting back to your selection as Miss McCracken County, I'm kind of surprised to see that you're as old a woman as you are. I mean, when you mention beauty contest winners, you usually think of young girls.
Well, I don't think that's a very nice thing to say. I came all the way down from my hotel in Yonkers just for this interview, and I certainly wouldn't have done it if I had known that you were going to start off by insulting me.
Oh, I didn't mean to be insulting, Miss Thorpe. It was just an observation I couldn't help making. Say you're staying at a hotel in Yonkers?
Yes, the Chamber of Commerce back home made the reservations. I don't know why they put us in a hotel so far out. There really isn't much to do up there except go to a neighborhood movie. Yeah.
You say you won this trip as your prize for being chosen as Miss McCracken County, huh?
That's right. I got the trip and a power lawnmower. I didn't bring the lawnmower with me, though.
I guess there was no age limit in the beauty contest you won, huh?
Well, now, there you go again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
See?
But you just seem a little old to win a beauty contest. I can't...
Well, I was a couple of years older than most of the other girls in the contest.
Just a couple of years older?
Well, I don't know exactly. Maybe 20, 25 years, something like that.
You wore a bathing suit in this contest?
Yes, we all wore bathing suits. I wore a bathing cap, too. I think I was the only one who wore a bathing cap.
I'm just wondering how you'd look in a bathing suit. You're pretty fat. Obese.
Now, see here. I don't have to stand for comments like that.
Well, you must weigh over 200 pounds. You can't get over that. I just don't see how you could ever win a beauty contest.
Look here. I don't like the way you're talking to me at all.
I don't like it either.
I know, but she's so fat.
I think you better mind your manners, Pally.
Those blemishes on her face there.
Well, I'll fix you, pal.
Now, you folks, don't form a circle around me here. We just have to report on things as we see them.
You hold them, Claflin. I'll feed you some
Hey,
man.
ow. Hey. you have any games to play with our studio audience?
I'm here, the chocolate dinner.
Oh, you were here I remember back in July, around the 9th of July, if I remember. I have a photographic memory.
Yeah.
And at that time you told us that you were sent up here by the starter of the elevators downstairs.
That's
the
right.
Assistant starter.
But I was sent up by the fellow who runs the newsstand down there today.
Well, we have a few seconds here. Where you work in a candy factory.
That's right.
And you dip chocolates, any particular kind? I mean,
I dip
filling?
them all.
You dip all centers.
That's right. One curlicue means a soft center, orange. Two curlicues mean a soft center, pineapple.
That's a little coat on top of the chocolate. I always wondered about that.
Well, you have to know what's beneath the chocolate. And
Keep all those in your mind, do you?
Oh, you have to know all
You ever make the mistake and put a vanilla cream curlicue on top of a candied cherry?
I probably have in my time, made a few mistakes.
Did I have any complaints?
No.
You ever fall into the vat of chocolate?
Yes, I have.
How often?
Twice.
Would you tell us about it in the second part of our show today?
All right, I'd be very pleased to
If you
tell
stand
about
by,
it.
please.
Well, I was walking along they have kind of a staging set up there where you go from chocolate to fillings.
Yeah?
And,
you were just past nougat, you told us.
That's right. I was coming down. I had a whole dish full of nougatines.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to dip them. And take like a glass full of the chocolate.
Yeah.
And I lost my balance and I fell
Just
in
toppled right in there with a big splash.
My overall straw hat I was wearing.
What do you do in a case like that?
Well, you can't eat it all. I'll tell you that.
Huh.
One mouthful of liquid chocolate, and you pretty well had it. It's bitter chocolate, too, incidentally.
I see.
It wasn't the sweet, milky smooth.
Well,
it was bitter with lumps.
Did you call for help?
Yeah?
Do you remember the exact words you used?
Yes. Fire, I yelled.
Fire. You fell into a vat of chocolate and yelled fire, but I don't understand.
Well, who'd come if I kept yelling chocolate?
I suppose you're right. So they got you out, and they, of course, disposed of all of the chocolate in that particular vat, and you started over again.
That's exactly as it happened, Mr. Collier.
Well, thank you very much for coming here and telling us your story today on Sentimental Favorites. Ladies, nobody likes a shortening that's filled with lumps and old pieces of wrapping twine. That's why you'll go for Grime, the magic shortening that spreads like lard. Try some today and be sure to join us next time when Edna goes to the village in the gathering dusk. Well, now, what do we have coming up today? I think we have an underwater bowling tournament someplace, don't we?
Well, no, we got word that tournament has been canceled on account of wet grounds. But I'm afraid that we've been caught here with nothing to substitute for pickup.
Tell you what we could do. We've been neglecting our mail for some time, and I think maybe we could answer some of the letters that have come in.
Aside from the contest and everything.
Yeah,
we have quite a box full of it down there. Suppose you pull out 2 or 3 letters, and we'll see if we can answer them.
All right. Let's see. Here's one from Mrs. Edgar Barnhorst of, is that Gallatin, Tennessee?
Probably Gallatin.
Gallatin.
I don't know, really.
Miss Barnhorst wants to know, is George Putnam a real person, or is that just a staff announcer we've hired to act silly? Would you want to answer that one?
Well, I'll answer that, but I thought everyone knew. No, George Putnam is not a real person. But it's not just the voice of a staff announcer you hear. The part of George is played by a veteran character actor named Osborne Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell is the same actor who played the part of Eddie Cantor for a number of years on radio back in the 30s. I guess that answers that question.
Yeah, I think you've covered all the pertinent points. Why don't you read this next letter, huh?
Okay, this one is from Mrs. Klaus Driftmeyer of Kokomo, Indiana.
Or is that Kokomo?
I don't really know.
Kokomo, yes.
The letter says I get a strange sound over my radio every once in a while when I'm listening to Lawrence Sechtenberger. I've had all my tubes checked, and nothing seems to be wrong. Can you explain this phenomenon? Bob, you want to be able to handle that one?
Glad to, sure. Well, if the tubes have been checked, Mr. Driftmeyer, and the sound continues, I think the noise might be coming from inside your head. I'd suggest that you see your family doctor at once.
Good. I was hoping you wouldn't steer the man wrong. You know, those cases of head noises can progress very rapidly sometimes. I suppose you take the next letter here.
All right. This one comes all the way from Spokane, Washington. Hey, Mrs. Hazel Thorndike out there would like to know whatever became of Bob and Ray. I used to hear them on radio, and now they're never on anymore. Would you want to answer that one?
No, I don't believe I'd catch it, would you?
No, I wouldn't. What's next?
Well, we've got one here from a Fred Pfaff of Lubbock, Texas.
Fred Pfaff, huh?
And he writes, you keep talking about sending reporters all over the world to do things, but not one of them has ever come to my house. Do you really go places and interview people as you claim? Or is the whole thing a big fake? Bob, that's yours.
Thanks, Ray. Well, no, we do send Wally Ballou out on interviews from time to time. We interview people in alphabetical order. I don't know whether we ever said that. We're only about halfway down through the B's right now, so I imagine it'll be quite a while before we get to you, Mr. Pfaff.
Very good. You know, while you were talking there, I happened to notice a package in this box of mail that's addressed to our personal attention here.
That's nice. I'd like to have our fans write to us, and we certainly never try to create the impression they had to send gifts. What does it seem to be, anyway?
Well, I'm always a little afraid of boxes in the summer. Food turns so easily in the heat. Well, I'm just getting the box open now. It looks like... it looks like an alarm clock.
Hey, that's good, huh?
Something attached to it. Maybe a radio.
Well, let me give you a hand getting out of the box there.
All right, that's fine. You get on that side.
Yeah.
Up she goes.
Hey, cookies, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's time for a report, special television report by our TV critic, Mr. Crawford Paisley. But I don't know where he is. He's usually here on time. Wait a second. I think he's coming off the elevator right now. Yeah, here he comes. He'll be here in just a few seconds to broadcast to all.
Gee, I'm sorry I'm late, Bob. This isn't like me at all.
No, I was just saying you're usually on time, Crawford. What happened?
Well, I got on an elevator going the wrong direction, and the first thing I knew, I was down in the boiler room. Well, I'm so nuts about boilers that I guess I stayed down there longer than I should have. Time just seemed to fly by.
Well, now that you're here, we want to have our regular report. What do you plan to talk about this week?
Well, I got an idea the other day that I think will really brighten up my report. I decided that instead of watching all the shows from home, I'd go down and sit in the studio audience for one of them, so to give myself a new perspective.
Sounds like a wonderful idea, and will you stand by for just a minute or so, and we'll hear all about this?
Oh, all right.
Just sit tight there. Okay, Crawford, what show did you pick to visit this week?
Well, I picked the Ed Sullivan show. He's always introducing people in the studio audience, so I got tickets and told all my friends to watch for me. I put on my lodge uniform so Ed would be sure to notice me when the time came to introduce people in the audience.
And we introduced?
No, I wasn't.
I see.
They just introduced a bunch of professional golfers and some guy who claimed he was an admiral.
Well, at least it gave you a chance for a behind-the-scenes look at television. Was it the first time you'd ever watched a TV show being put on?
Yes, it was. I had no idea that they dressed the doorman up so fancy at those TV theaters. Gee, this fellow had on a bright blue uniform with gold braid that came down almost to the elbow.
Real impressive figure, huh?
I'll say the ushers were pretty surly, though. I assume they'd pass out questionnaires to people who wanted to be on the program. When I asked this one kid about it, he didn't even answer.
Well, the Ed Sullivan Show isn't an audience participation program.
Well, they have all of those drill teams and everything. They must get them out of the studio audience. I don't know where else they'd come from.
Well, getting back to the staging of the show, is there anything else you want to tell us about the way it was put on?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting that they have little wire brackets under the seats where you can put your hat. You don't have to hold it in your lap.
A lot of theaters have those, you know.
Of course, I couldn't put my lodge hat under there. It has all those ostrich plumes on it and everything.
Yeah, I've seen it, I know.
On the whole, though, the seats were fairly comfortable, and the air conditioning was working reasonably well.
Crawford, was there anything about the technical aspects of putting on a TV show that impressed you? The lights or the cameras, anything like that?
Well, to tell you the truth, Bob, I slept through most of the show. They started off with a French ventriloquist. I couldn't understand anything he said, and I just kind of dozed off.
I see.
I do the same thing in movies. Go to sleep almost as soon as I sit down.
Well, I guess you might as well stay at home and watch TV from there in the future, huh?
Yes, I think I'll do that this week. I seem to stay awake at home for some reason.
Yeah. Well, I hope you will. We'll be looking forward to your next report then, and so long.
Goodbye.
Today, Linda is confined to the lovely house in River's Mouth with a toothache, and their next-door neighbor, Dr. Llewellyn, has come across the yard to deliver a message from his mother. Ricky? Oh, come in, Ricky.
Oh.
What, do you have a message from your mother for us?
The mother of me has learned that Dr. Linda has a toothache.
Yes, she had it all night, and it seems to be worse this morning. We're trying to decide just what to do.
Well, the mother of me says if you fill an argyle sock with chicken fat, just put it on your cheek, it will help the pain disappear.
Well, that's an old wives' tale.
Well, let's see how old the mother of me...
No, I mean, I was just Saying that that's an old-fashioned idea, I don't think it will help her tooth, and that's for a sore throat anyway.
It's a funny way for a doctor to talk anyway.
Yeah,
Well, that's what I was thinking all the way over, but some of those things work out fine.
Well, I suppose it's worth a try.
Better than some of those newfangled medicines that I've developed in my laboratory.
How is the toothache now, Linda?
It still hurts like the old hay.
Well, we could try it. Do we have any chicken fat around the house?
I don't know. You had chicken for Sunday.
We have chicken every Sunday.
Well, it's probably the only way you could get it would be to scoop it off the top of the gravy.
I suppose so.
Okay. Will you do that, Dr.
Well,
Eugene?
What's that?
Will you do that, please?
Yes. I suppose if I am elected, I'll do it. Why don't we vote on who's to do it?
Who's the fat off the top of the gravy?
Yeah.
Well, all right. I think that's fair.
Well, all right, let's draw straws. Here. Here's a pencil and paper for you.
Oh, stop that. No, let's just decide who's going to do it.
All right, Uncle Eugene will do it.
Go ahead, do it.
Okay.
How do you feel now, Dr. Linder?
Oh, it hurts like the dickens.
Should you have a move from that chair?
Hey, what's the matter with me?
Your toothache, too?
No. Can't stand up.
Look, when you walk, you look like you're sitting down.
I know it. You think it could be fleabus?
I'm afraid that's exactly what it is. Here, come over here. Let me see your tongue.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Well.
That's fleabus.
Well, is Dr. Llewellyn's diagnosis correct? Does Uncle Eugene have fleabus? Be sure and listen tomorrow when we'll hear Linda say...
You mean I have fleabus too, plus the toothache?
That's in the next exciting episode in the life and loves of Linda Lovely, girl intern. Word Carr speaking.
We've just received word that Wally Ballou is standing by with a report from the National Power Lawnmower Race in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So come in, please. Wally Ballou.
Here's radio's Wally Ballou. Here in the pit area at the National Power Lawnmower Race in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And beside me is one of the entries who's already been forced out of this 1956 classic. Sure all you racing fans are familiar with it. Dusty Cribbins. What happened to you out there today, Dusty?
Well, my mower sprang an oil leak on the 23rd lap, Wally, and that was the end of it for me. I was pushing down through the heavy grass on the southeast turn, and I noticed oil squirting out of the machine all over my shoes.
Uh-oh.
There was nothing I could do but pull my mower back into the pits and call it a day.
Well, I know after all of the training and practice you've been doing the last few weeks, it must have been quite a disappointment for you.
Yes, it was. I've been parking myself all summer as I mowed my own lawn, getting ready for the big day.
Of course, you might still get in there as a relief mower for one of the other entries. Is that right?
It's very hot out there in the lawn. I imagine that a lot of these fellows will be needing relief mowers before too long.
Well, there are only 3 entries left in the race, as I understand it. Is that right?
That's right. 5 of us started. I went out early, and then we had the accident up there in the northeast turn.
Oh, I saw that. It was a terrible thing. The fellow went right through the hedge there, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He wasn't paying any attention to what he was doing, and he went right through the hedge. I understand he wasn't hurt badly, though. Oh, gee willikers, that one went right over the bird bath and came down with his mower on top of him.
Well, that leaves just 2 entries in the race now. It looks as if one of them is coming into the pits right now. And it's the only lady entered in the classic, Mrs. Ferd Rakish. What happened, Mrs. Rakish, from the microphone?
I'm just too pooped to go on, that's all.
Did you get a relief man to take over your mower?
Well, I don't think so. I threw a tire on the backstretch on that last lap, and the motor's getting awfully hard. I think I'll just have to drop out and have the mower pushed back to the ground.
Well, that certainly is tough luck, Mrs. Ferd Rakish. Well, there goes another accident. The last entry, still in the running, went over the fence and into the yard next door, so that means we won't have a winner again this year.
Well, I don't know why they keep holding this race. Nobody ever finishes it.
I guess that about winds up the activity here in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And this is Broadcasting Nibs Wally Ballou at the National Power Lawnmower Race, returning you to Bob and Ray. Say, friends, you tired of having your loved one tell you what a dull, uninteresting person you are?
Do you find that people ignore you because you have no distinctive qualities at all?
You ever wish that you could pick up some new and fascinating mannerisms that would attract attention and win you a host of new friends?
Of course you do. And now, neighbors, your dreams of popularity can come true through membership in the Bob and Ray Habit of the Month Club.
Well, that's right, friends. Once your application is received, we'll show you how to acquire some new and annoying habit each and every month.
The postman will deliver right to your door complete instructions, diagrams, and charts, showing you how to pick up those bothersome little mannerisms that enable you to stand out in a crowd.
Now, others have found the Bob and Ray Habit of the Month Club to be their key to popularity and happiness, and we can do the same for you.
Now, the wonderful part is that the acquiring of bothersome habits can be downright fun.
Well, don't just take our word for it. Let us read to you from just a few of the thousands of testimonial letters that have come pouring into our swank New York offices.
For example, here's one from a Mrs. R.T. of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. She writes, "My husband and children used to go about their business as if I didn't exist. Now I emit a piercing scream every 30 seconds, as you outlined in your February selection. My family life has changed considerably, and I can never thank you enough."
A Mr. W.L. of Worcester, Massachusetts.
I think that's pronounced Worcester.
A Mr. W.L. of Worcester, Massachusetts writes, "Nobody paid any attention to me on the bus in the morning until I developed the habit of wiggling my ears. Now I'm really the life of the Worcester motor coach system. The habit seems to make my glasses slip down on my nose a little, but that's a small price to pay for success."
Another letter, and I see this one came airmail from a Mrs. F.S. of Anderson, Indiana. She writes, "I had tried nervous finger tapping off and on for years, but I never went in for complicated military drum rolls until you showed me how in your March selection. Now I tap my fingers constantly on any noisy surface that may be available. And as an apparent result, they have just made me president of the PTA."
Finally, this letter from a Mr. W.Y. of Newark, Ohio. "I never dreamed that a silly little habit like beating my head against the wall would attract so much attention. The boss has thrown several big accounts my way since I began, and the wonderful part is that it's fun to do."
Yes, friends, and these letters are not just isolated examples. We have 2 warehouses in New Jersey and 1 in Oklahoma, filled with mail that we haven't even opened yet.
And probably won't. Certainly, you'll want to enroll in the Bob and Ray Habit of the Month Club, so act quickly and take advantage of our special bonus offer.
Now, if your application is in the mail before midnight tonight, you'll receive at no additional cost a copy of our valuable little book, How to Make Your Habits Even More Annoying.
Now, I have a copy of this handy volume right here, and just let me read you a few sample chapter headings. Here's one: How to Pick the Most Opportune Moment for Cracking Your Knuckles. The Cultivation and Practice of Bothersome Throat Noises. How to Make Your Fingernails Pop When You Bite them. And Raising and Lowering the Eyebrows for Fun and Profit.
Well, there you have it, friends. This little book alone is worth many times the cost of membership in the Bob and Ray Habit of the Month Club. And it can be yours absolutely free if your application is in the mail before midnight tonight.
Just write on a postcard, "I want to be a pest." Once again, we take great pleasure in presenting another unrehearsed program during which we permit the youth of our nation to ask current questions uppermost in their minds to a senator of our choosing. Today's guest is Senator Hobart T. Sturgeon. And right now I'll turn the chair over to the senator and let him conduct the discussion, if he will, please.
First of all, let me say what a pleasure it is to have been chosen to address this fine assemblage of our youth. But I don't want to hold up the program. I know you're eager to ask questions, so we'll be first. All right, son? That young lad over there.
Senator?
Pronounce your name, please.
Laszlo Spunk, 4th grade Lincoln School. Senator, do you think that the Fair Trades Practice of 1911, which constitutes a reciprocal trades agreement calling upon a quorum of 7 heretofore chosen legislative bodies, is in actuality a fair trades practice?
What was that question?
I'm sorry, Senator, I wasn't paying attention.
Would you care to repeat that question, son?
Laszlo Spunk, 4th grade Lincoln School. Senator, do you think the fair trades practice is a fair trades
I
practice?
stoutly maintain what I originally said on the floor of the House regarding this matter, and I think you will back me up on that. Just one more word regarding this. Would you kids try and make your questions shorter? We don't have too much time. All right? You, young lady.
All right. You start.
Susie Spunk, 3rd grade, Washington High. Senator, sir, why is it that after stating your personal feelings regarding interstate cooperation and ratifying the reciprocal trade agreements of 1911, 1951 also, you have all of a sudden reversed completely in your basic opinion?
What'd you say your name was, little girl?
Susie Spunk, 3rd grade, Washington Junior High School.
Amazing. Now, this young fellow over here.
Hobart Stempson, 5th grade, Jefferson Grammar School. Senator, I remember the answer you gave as to whether or not you thought the party to which you belong will have a fighting chance in the next election. I wonder if you care to repeat your answer for this distinguished gathering.
Well, as I recall, this was on the eve of March 25th in the Blakely Hall, during the annual dinner for the Sons of Elks, held between the hours of 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. with myself and Ramsey Gulf as the guest speakers. I remember it very well. It was a rainy night, the temperature about 76, which was rather warm, we thought, for March. But I can't for the life of me remember what I gave as an answer to that leading question.
Senator, by way of refreshing your memory, the answer you gave was no. Would you care to repeat it?
No. And now to this little fellow over here.
My name is Ricky Chalmers.
All right, Ricky.
And I'm in the 4th grade at Jackson School. I appeared on Joe Kelly's Quiz Kids last year.
Fine. Don't you get asked a question?
No, thank you.
Well, then perhaps this little tyke over here.
My name is Laszlo Spunk. Isn't it true, Senator, that you tried to start a movement in the House to have all United States senators send their laundry to your cousin in Hagerstown, Maryland?
I see this little girl has her hand up. Yes, honey?
Susie Spunk, 3rd grade, Washington Junior High School. I'd like to know why you're hesitating to answer my brother's question.
Yeah.
How much time do we have left?
Well, it's almost time for your good night, Senator. But do you have time for one more question, I think?
I'd like first to compliment the little girl on the pretty ribbon she's wearing in her hair. I'll bet your mommy picked that up.
Senator, how about the laundry question?
And before I say good night, I'd also like to compliment the little boy who asked that last question on the attractive young man's tie he's wearing tonight. It's very good. Dad's, is it? Now I see that we have time for just about one more question.
Homer Ferrapungus, 3rd grade, Dardanella Reform School. Senator, do you think you'll have the gall to run for office this year after the demonstration you've given here today?
Well, look here,
Well, time is up now, Senator, and it's time for you to say a few parting words on Youth Talks Back.
Yes, of course. I'd like to thank you for having chosen me to come here tonight and answer the questions put forth by this group of kiddies. I hope that you'll not hesitate to call on me again. It was my pleasure to drag myself away from a desk teeming over with important papers all marked urgent. I come all the way down here tonight to address such a distinguished group of adolescents. It was my pleasure to leave an office pad that was full of vital appointments, to walk out on a deserving office staff who've been working way into the night to try desperately to bring things up to date, merely to address this nice gathering of young men and women of tomorrow. It was no handicap at all for me to miss my wife's 40th anniversary birthday party, or to give up the honor of having been chosen Grand Marshal of the Dallas Centennial just to come here and address this student body. Naturally, I hope you'll ask me here again. Real thrilled.
And now one last word, Senator.
Good night.
We presented another public service program of Youth Talks Back, a program designed to give the youth of our nation an opportunity to express itself. And our thanks to Senator Hobart T. Sturgeon, Senator at Large. Thank you for being with us. We have a little surprise planned for today. The two people all set in opposite studios, Ray. Mm-hmm. Mrs. Worley and her brother, Mr. Worley, whom they haven't seen. They haven't seen each other for 67 years. And we've flown Mrs. Worley here, and Mr. Worley lives right here in New York.
He took a bus to get here.
We have them in separate studios, and we think that they're going to really have a big surprise in store for them, thanks to us.
Why don't you talk to Mrs. Worley first?
All right. Well, would you bring in Mrs. Worley, please? Come on in, my dear.
Come on, step lively, lady, will you?
Oh, wait, she's 87 years old.
Well, I don't care, Bob. We only have 45
Let's be kind to her. Right over
here.
Come
on, lady. Step along. Come on,
Mother, right over here.
Scott.
Sit down, if you will. You are Miss Tabitha Worley, is that right?
Tabitha.
Tabitha Worley.
Yes, a lot of people make that mistake.
And where do you make your home, Miss Worley?
I live in Bondurant, Wyoming.
That's a wonderful country out there, I know.
Yes.
And you are 87 years young, is that right?
That's right.
And you were flown here by Bob and Ray. And do you have any idea why you're here in this studio today?
I don't have the remotest idea why I'm here.
Is there anyone...
Speak up, lady, please.
Oh, she's speaking up, Ray. Don't...
Great Scott.
Do you have anybody that you would particularly like to see after, let's say a great number of years? Someone you used to know?
No, I don't suppose.
Anybody in your family, Miss Worley, that you particularly...
My family, let's see. No. No, it's been so long since I've seen any of them anyway. I don't suppose I'd know them if I fell over them anyway.
Do you remember your brother, Frank?
Sure.
How long is it since you saw him?
Well, let's see. Must be, 70 years.
70 years. We thought it was only 66, but it's 70.
It's 70.
Well, we have a little surprise arranged for you, Miss Worley. We like to do this now and then with the excess cash that we have from our expense account. And I wonder if you'd open the door over there and bring in our next guest.
All right, come on. I'll step along.
Now, Mr. Frank Worley is facing his sister, Tabitha, for the first time in 66 years. Let's hear what they have to say.
Well, what'd you want me here for?
This is your sister, Tabitha, Mr. Worley.
Oh, hello, Tabitha.
Hello, Frank.
All right, now will you go over and sit down in our studio audience, please? Knowing that we've made two people happier. Well,
Why don't you sit together in the same row? They're not even sitting in the same row.
No, and you probably have a lot to talk over, don't you, Miss Worley?
Well, I suppose that it's been so long.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Worley, you have anything to say to you?
No. Oh, you've changed.
Uh-huh. Well, I know that we've...
You mind if I sit in another row?
No, you can sit anywhere you want.
Where do you live now, Tabitha?
Bondurant, Wyoming.
And so as they exchange anecdotes of days gone by...
Wait a minute, I'd better get out of here. I have an appointment. I have to have my teeth fixed. Would you mind if I run along?
No,
you go ahead.
All right, and so we have rejoined the Whirlies, and we know that we've added a little bit of human kindness.
Is that why you flew me here?
Yes, you can go back any time now.
Well, I might as well run along home now. There's probably a plane leaving. Bye.
Goodbye, Miss Whirley.
Hello, everybody. This is radio's Wally Ballou. On one of our principal thoroughfares, getting the opinions of people on radio today and what radio means to them. Sir, I wonder if I could speak with you for just a moment. Yeah. My name's Wally Ballou. We're on the radio.
I've heard of you.
I'll just refer to you as Mr. X, if I may.
Well, that's good, because that's my name.
Sir, do you listen to the radio very much?
Oh, you got the wrong guy. I'm a TV man. No, very little radio. Well, I tell you, I have a clock radio that gets me up in the morning.
Listen a little bit before breakfast while you're shaving.
While I'm shaving, and then I get the time and the weather and the traffic and what to look for, and from the radio.
You commute to work?
I drive in.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a shrimp divider in one of the big restaurants here in town.
That's interesting.
I take the shrimp and I take that black thing out of it, and I put that in a separate dish from the shrimp I've just cleaned. And I have a little radio by that black dish where I put the other stuff. I have a little radio there to play music in the background.
Well, I suppose you'd kind of go crazy debating shrimp all day if you didn't have something to listen to.
That's right. It's pretty tiring.
At the end of the day, I don't suppose you go home and ask your wife for a shrimp cocktail.
Well, they always say that. They always say, I bet you hate shrimp.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not the case. I like shrimp. I still like to eat them.
Isn't that interesting? You say you drove home. Do you listen to the radio when you drive in?
Yeah, well, I want to get a line up on the traffic. And like that.
Now, after dinner, that's when you watch TV, huh?
Not as a rule. I'm quite a hobbyist. I have a shop down the basement. I like to go down there and make things out of glass, bottles, wood. And I like to shellac fish that I've put them out on the wall.
Things of that sort.
I shellacked 12 dozen shrimp and put it on a plaque. It's really pretty.
Isn't it?
It's nice.
Can you watch TV while you're working in your shop?
No, I have a little radio down there where I listen to music and the news.
How many hours of an evening do you put in?
Well, see, I get down there after dinner, about 8 o'clock, and come up around after the 11 o'clock news and head to bed.
Head for the sack. Well, so you've given me a pretty good account of your entire day, and I don't know whether you know it or not, but you've listened to radio from about the time you get up until you go to bed, and no mention of TV. When do you watch television?
I've never missed a football game on the tube. Time again for Tim and Jim, Guardian Maintenance Men. Brought to you by your Chevrolet car and truck, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, Cadillac, and GMC truck dealer. Joining the boys, an old friend has just driven in.
Say, Jim, isn't that our old friend Harvey, who writes children's stories? Hi, Harvey.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Jim. Hi, Tim and Jim.
Can we help you?
Yes, this is my car. My car is red. See my red car?
Yes, what about it?
I am going away. I am going away in my red car. Go, car, go.
Well, Harvey, you probably want our summer travel special then.
Yes, I would like your summer travel special.
Maybe a quality engine tune-up. It's another of our featured Guardian Maintenance summer services.
Yes, yes.
And we're also installing seat belts, rotating tires, and balancing wheels.
See my dog Spot? My dog Spot is in my red car. I love to run and play with Spot. The pretty red car will go good. When will the red car be ready?
When the big hand is on 12 and the little hand is on 5.
Now, as a service of your Chevrolet, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, Cadillac, and GMC truck dealer, here is a list of names of people in this area who have not brought their vehicles in regularly for the important services as recommended in their owner protection plan.
Most have already done so, but those who haven't know who they are, and we know who you are.
Here's the first group. Morris Claremont, Arthur Skirmahorn, Helen Harkness, Frederick von Berkowitz,
T. Wilson Messi, Joan Antonsich, Gilbert Arian, Al Schaefer, and Linda Larkey.
Stanford Shule, Ole Oleahy, Mary Magoon, and Harmon Myers.
This list includes those people who are due for the recommended services in their owner protection plan.
Calvin Hoogovan, Joseph Cabibbo, Natalie Attired, Melvin DeGiacomo, Shirley Schechten-Lusengard. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Clifford Fleming, William Himmerling, Mary Backstage, Akbar Maitai.
Bring your car in now for your recommended Guardian maintenance services and avoid the embarrassment of being reminded on the air.
Thank you.
Recommended